Yeah, yeah. Boxing aficionados. What's up? What's going on? Hey, yo, check this out. I want to talk about Demetrius Andrade, better known as Boo Boo. So here it is, man. This song right here is very appropriate for his situation. Apparently, he's been driven to drink by Janibek, Alimkhanully. Don't push. So the words of that song says, "Que no me empuje, camine, que no me empuje." And basically what it is saying is that don't push me, don't rush me. It's a very funny song. It's by QUACK. And listen, you gotta really listen to the song to understand. It's a protest song. And basically, in my opinion, it's very appropriate in describing, right, Demetrius Andrade's situation, right? Because I've never seen a fighter I've never seen a fighter come apart at the seams over a mandatory defense in this way in my entire, 40-something years of watching boxing. I mean, what, Riddick Bowe, when he threw the belt away on the trash, is really the only thing that comes back to mind. And maybe I'm exaggerating, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, Boo Boo Andrade coming apart at the seam. He's making videos. It looks like it's in front of his neighborhood, his house, or where he's basically asking Chris Eubank to rescue him, right? To rescue him from having to face Janibek Alimkhanully. I love saying that name. At first I couldn't say the name. Now I got it right. Now I can't stop saying it. Janibek Alimkhanully. Right? So the thing is that, right, so Boo Boo finds himself in a situation where, he is very clearly unraveling. The man has lost his poise. Janibek has drove him to drink. The situation is he needs to pull. He's probably pulling out his dreadlocks. He might develop a bald spot behind this current conundrum. And the thing is that it's really quite simple, right? His fans. Now, I know it's shocking that Boo Boo Andrade has fans, right? His supporters, because I didn't know Boo Boo Andrade had fans. If he had fans, he'd probably get the fights that he's been calling out, clamoring for. The Triple G's, the Charlos, the Canelos. If he was more relevant and had a fan base, he would probably get those fights. And herein lies the irony, right? Boo Boo Andrade hasn't taken on a fight or fought anybody or been involved in an event of any consequence or interest to any boxing fans since about 2013 when he fought Vanis Martirosyan. That's the last time I heard of Boo Boo being on anybody's mind as far as for something he did in the ring or for a fight that he's taking on. Boo Boo Andrade has been this lore, this I don't know, like this veil over boxing, this mist over boxing that's been cast over boxing for the last 10 years with this law of Boo Boo and his exploits in the amateur ranks, and every fighter that's ever seen him says how great he is, and they all speak very highly about his skill set. But nobody gives a damn about Boo Boo Andrade. He couldn't draw flies if he, he couldn't draw flies if he plastered doggy do all over his body. He couldn't draw flies, and that's a situation of his own making. I do remember vaguely, and I'm not gonna act like I'm this boxing novice, boxing hardcore that knows so much about Boo Boo Andrade. All I know is that I've heard his name forever and never once been compelled to see him fight, right? So the thing is that I do remember vaguely that he's had opportunities that he's bypassed. I remember that he was about to fight, I think, Jermall Charlo at 154. He was in the PBC stratosphere. Apparently, he wasn't a PBC fighter per se, but he was in their stratosphere, right? I mean, Heyman at that in the 2013s basically had all black fighters fighting for him, right? And Boo Boo Andrade was in that en esa farándula, in that gang, and so he was slated to fight Charlo. Next thing I know is that the fight didn't take place for whatever reason, and then he signed with Rockefeller management. And I think that's what precipitated that fight coming apart, the Charlo situation coming apart. But he had that fight in the bag. And he went and signed with Jay-Z, couldn't get it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please feel free to get into the comments and enlighten me as to how that turned out or why that came about. But this is how much I can piece together from the little things I remember that I read. Point is, he didn't get that fight. This was not too long after the Martirosyan fight. Since then, he's basically been waffling around, getting good checks from Rockefeller. Then they went to Hell in a Handbasket, and Eddie Hearn, in his infinite wisdom, and came Eddie Hearn in his infinite wisdom or desperation to get American fighters, right? That he decides to sign Boo Boo Andrade, thinking that he was going to get Andrade and get Charlo to come over and this and that and the third. None of it panned out. Over the last 5 years, Boo Boo has fought nobody. He ends up on HBO fighting a Mando. I can't even tell you who he fought. I know he fought some maybe Sulecki or somebody. I don't know, somewhere along those lines from the Eddie Hearn stratosphere. And that's the last I've heard of it. Eddie Hearn gets Triple G, gets Canelo. They're all on the zone. Boo Boo's on the zone. Boo Boo can't get the fight. Camine. So anyway, he can't get the fights, even though he's on the right side of the street for once. And that must be so frustrating. It must be, I don't know, I can't even compare that situation, right? I can't even fathom it. It's like, it must be like being a kid in a candy store and having all the candy safely tucked away behind, glass cabinets or hard glass bulletproof cabinets that you can't get to, and you got, you know, and you're like a fat kid in a candy store and can't get to the damn candy. It must be like that. You know, I can't even fathom what that's like. But the point is this. At the end of the day, in my opinion, right, Boo Boo Andrade has buried himself. By how? How's he burned his bed? How's he made his own bed? How's he buried himself? Well, it's a bad song. Anyway, so, you know, aside from only fighting Mandos and no-namers and non-hopers and people who were clearly not as skilled as him, it's okay if you do that. Triple G did that. The difference is that Triple G knocked out his opponents. Triple G made the best of the situation by putting on a show, by knocking his opponents out, whoever it was. Daniel Gill, you know, I'm not even gonna go try to come down with all the names of Triple G's knockouts. Point is, he got into the ring, and Triple G managed to then make the event about him knocking out fighters instead of the quality of the fight itself. So then people tuned in to see Triple G's performances. Triple G knock out a person and didn't even really care about how Triple G or who Triple G was fighting, right? That's how I became a Triple G fan. His performances. You know, then you could imagine and ponder, and then he was obviously being ducked by Canelo, being ducked by Cotto, Canelo, you know, a litany of fighters at middleweight. It was clear that Triple G was that guy. He definitely was a boogeyman. He could not get the fights, even though he did have a fan base, and their fights were being clamored for. Literally. Boo Boo Andrade, on the other hand, gets in the ring and decides to go 12 rounds with dudes he should be stopping. And then when you criticize him for his performances, his responses is, well, you know, you don't care about my health, and you're not the one that's gonna pay my medical bills if I get hurt in the ring, and that's all well and good. That's fine. I understand that. I respect that. But you can't make me be interested in your career if you're not able or to find it in yourself to wow me in some way. I'm Joe Public. It's my money. I'm not gonna follow you if there's nothing to follow that interests me. You're not a knockout artist. You're not an exciting fighter. You want to go into the ring and go 12 rounds and put on a scientific, you know, hit and not get hit event, you know, a performance against a fighter that you clearly can knock out. So you're disrespecting me and my time, right? Therefore, I'm not gonna be interested in seeing you fight. And the whole boxing world knows that. The boxing world knows that, and that includes the fighters who are avoiding him. Canelo's avoiding him because he can. Triple G avoided him because he can. Because Triple G can go make a whole lot of money fighting the Japanese guy he just fought. He can make a whole lot of money fighting the below average opponents that he's fought lately, aside from that guy from Japan. He can make a whole lot of money because of his past performances and wait on another Canelo payday, right? While cashing $12 million checks, right? Because of his past performances and because he's built up this fan base and interest in him, right? Boo Boo hasn't done that. So now Boo Boo finds himself miraculously involved in a mandatory situation, in a mandatory fight that people actually want him to see, that people want to see him, you know, fight. This is the only fight in the last 5 years that he's taken, that he's in position to take as an A side that I've ever heard anyone clamor for, ever. And no mandatory that he's ever fought has had this kind of interest, has garnered this kind of interest. And what Boo Boo does? All of a sudden, Boo Boo wants to drop belts. He wants to move up. He wants to find 1,000 excuses. His supporters, I can't even say fans, because that's not what they are. Supporters, the ones who are you know, steeped in the mystic, in Boo Boo's mysticism. And it's funny that I should say mystic because he's from Providence, and that's where the Mystic River, I guess, is. So that's kind of deep. Yeah, that's deep. That's me being deep. Anyway, so you know, this is the first time he's in Lord knows how long that anybody's even has Boo Boo on their minds for a fight that can take place, and he decides to walk away, or is pondering walking away, or looking to move up and move sideways and move this and that. He moves up and they give him Zach Parker. He doesn't want to go to Zach Parker. Zach Parker's at 168, a switch hitter, power puncher, and Frank Warren won the purse bid because Eddie Hearn finally realized that investing in Boo Boo is a losing proposition. He finally woke up and said, wow, listen, like I'm losing the money in this guy, and it don't look like I'm going to be able to get this back. So I think I'm going to just make a minimum bid so not to insult him. And Frank Warren walked away with that purse bid. So now if you move up, you're not getting a Canelo fight, you're getting a Zach Parker fight in Zach Parker's backyard. With no belt around your waist. You're not the A side. All you bring to the table is your name and your zero. And you might come back home with a big L next to your name, losing against Zach Parker. So that's a no-no, right? Because that's Frank. You don't want to go into a Frank Warren event with Frank Warren as the main promoter, and you're Boo Boo Andrade. So he says no to that. Then he starts calling people. Yeah, yo, you got to unify. PBC didn't even look at him. Al Heyman, the savior of all black fighters, right? Doesn't even look at Boo Boo Andrade. He didn't want to even look at Bud Crawford. And you think he's going to look at Boo Boo Andrade? For what? So he gets no interest from the PBC, right? And the WBO mandates Janibek Alimkhanully with 13 to make, with 13 fights and massive KOs. You can look at him on TV and see like this dude hits hard, and this dude is skilled. And you're Boo Boo Andrade. I said, I really want to get in the ring with that. But if I drop this belt, what do I have? And it's a conundrum. He must be taking Motrin and Xanax and everything else to calm his nerves behind his situation. Now he's calling, try to get Chris Eubank in the ring, which is very interesting because he says that Sky offered Chris Eubank money to face Boo Boo. If that's true, that's pretty interesting. But it's neither here nor there because if he faces Chris Eubank, it will be for no strap because the WBO already mandated Janibek, meaning that what he's trying to do is create a situation where Boxer and Sky comes up with money to pay Janibek step-aside fee so that they can do a Chris Eubank fight and then have Janibek take on the winner. That's really what he's thinking might be able to take place. and how he may be able to avoid this, you know, dealing with Janibek. But that ain't happened. And I just crack up at all the cockamamie excuses that Boo Boo Andrade supporters are coming up with. Oh, he's fought all these Mandos. Why he has to fight this one? Yo, he's fought all these Mandos nobody cared about. So why not fight one that somebody and boxing fans are clamoring for? How about looking at it that way? Right? And Boo Boo, what he needs to do is build up his profile. He takes on Janibek Alimkhanully on ESPN in front of, you know, a well-promoted event in front of 1 million people, which I think that will do 1 million. Promote it right, at least 900,000. It'll be more people than he's ever had looking at him, and beats him and undress him, outboxes him, and then he could say, well, this is why I am the boogeyman of the division. And then maybe he can now call out a Canelo or call out all those that he's been calling out, and they can feel maybe just a little bit of pressure in fighting him. And I know that people are going to say, well, he's not going to get credit for fighting Janibek. Well, guess what? He's not going to get credit for anything else he's been doing. And he hasn't gotten credit for anything else he's been doing. So why not do this? You dig? Let's get this fight on. I feel sorry for Boo Boo. I feel sorry for his fans. But it is what it is. And it ain't what it ain't. Next level boxing talk. God bless. I'm out. I'm out. Peace.